All right, Jared. Well, welcome, Jared, to our community day. And I want to welcome Jared from Sonoma County Experience to talk about their wine and cannabis tour. So, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so let's dive right in. I'm Jared Giamona. I'm founder of the Sonoma County Experience. Basically, full day cannabis experiences around cannabis, wine, and craft beer of Sonoma County. And we started the company back in late 2017, right before legalization and Prop 64 passed. And Prop 64 is the legalization of recreational cannabis in the state of California. So we started right before then. And I myself have been in cannabis since 2010. So it's felt like a smooth transition. And for us, we wanted to help remove the stigma of cannabis. And so by taking people behind the scenes, showing them how it's made, how it's cultivated, how it's processed, the different delivery methods, but also pairing it with wine and also craft beer. So for us, our stances in Sonoma County, nowhere else will you find the quality of cannabis, wine, and craft beer created anywhere else in the world. So that's a little bit of a brief background, but what I would like to do is kind of walk you through our website, also some photos of people that have taken the experiences, shows you a cannabis manufacturer, which is where edibles are made, topicals, vape pens, as well as an indoor cultivation and dispensary. So you'll see plants at their different stages between clones, the baby plants, all the way to full flower ready for harvest. So yeah, should I just dive right in? So this is our website. It kind of shows you what we're doing and what we offer. So obviously you have the wine and weed tours. For us, it's big to brand it as the new wine country, because it's not just wine country anymore. So in Sonoma County, you're getting some of the best wine you'll find in the world, but also some of the best quality cannabis you'll find. And I'll go over that a little bit more in detail on why that is. So here's just our different experiences. We have our wine and cannabis. We also have a craft beer and cannabis, a cannabis tour, just only cannabis stops, and then we have a Napa one as well. So for us, recreational tour. So think of yourself as someone coming to visit San Francisco for a weekend, right? You're going to take one day to go visit wine country. That's what that would entail. So you get to go experience wine country for a day. We'll pick you up, drop you off. And similar to a wine tour, as far as you're in a vehicle, we're taking you to different stops throughout the day. We include lunch. And we have our corporate events. This is something that we've really ramped up. Team building activities off sites for the day, really making it educational, fun, something different for your team to bond over. So also educational. Right now it's cool. We're partnered with the California Community College faculty and administration and helping them develop curriculum around cannabis. So that's something we're really proud of. For them, it's interesting to have educators and administrators want to learn so much and know what's going on and how they need to teach this new industry, because it's such an infant. There's no infrastructure around it. They're trying to, it's like building a plane and flying it at the same time. So that's really cool. So that's another one that we do. If it's highly educational, we also, on this one, what's really interesting we're finding is we're getting people from other states that will visit almost as a research trip, because it's going legal in so many different states across the country. People want to know what's going on in California, specifically Northern California, being the mecca of cannabis. People choose this as kind of a research trip. And so here we'll kind of break down our wine and cannabis experience. So show some different photos. You'll be able to visit wineries, taste and purchase some of the Sonoma wine. But also for us, what we do is you'll learn about the similarities between the process of growing wine grapes and outdoor cannabis flower. So what a lot of people don't realize is the cannabis plant outdoor has the same season as wine grapes. So, wine, you're starting it in the spring, April, May, the grapes will start coming back. You're really getting ready for the season. Obviously, it's going all the way through the summer, and you're harvesting in October. And cannabis is the same way. It's the same season. It's a whole harvest plant, so you're replanting every spring. That's one of the differences, but you're starting it in May and June, and you're harvesting it in October. So you're also dealing with the same elements that wine grapes do: Mother Nature, insects, mold, watering techniques, and similar to the wine grapes, the terroir matters, the climate matters, the elevation. There's so much that goes into it. It makes it so similar to wine. And actually, right now in the cannabis industry, there's a huge push for appellations. So similar to, if you think about Sonoma County or Russian River Valley Pinot, you'll have the same thing for cannabis, where it'll be specific to the region. There'll be certain criteria that needs to be met to be able to label it being from that appellation. So you're seeing the same pattern in cannabis. Yeah, some of the photos.
Jared, I have a question. Which
Yeah.
winery do you go to, and can you combine wine with cannabis? I mean, can we still function? We drink wine and the cannabis together.
Yeah. So we have certain winery partners we work with. Hook and Ladder in the Russian River Valley is one of our flagship stops. We visit them regularly. They're really known for their Pinots. They're right in the heart of the Russian River Valley. BR Cone is another one. They're on the Sonoma side. Larson Family Vineyards is another one. They're on the Sonoma side. But Hook and Ladder has been someone that we work closely with. And it's one of those things where Sonoma proper doesn't have a lot of cannabis right now, whereas Santa Rosa and that side of Sonoma County does. So, because what happens is it's left up to the municipalities. So Sonoma's a little further away, where Santa Rosa has a lot of different operators and places to stop, to make it more logistically easier to get to point A to point B. So it's funny, combining wine and cannabis, that's a touchy one. When we first started out, it was early 2018, and we would only have, one cannabis stop because there was not a lot of people operating yet. So we'd go to a dispensary and go to 2 or 3 wineries. But what we're finding is, we go to a couple wineries in the morning, and then we stop at a dispensary for an educational seminar, and they'd be able to purchase cannabis. And they were a little rambunctious at the dispensaries, we found. So, they had some alcohol in them. They were a little loud. So we've actually, now that we've brought more operators on, we've kind of switched it, where we go to our cannabis stops in the morning and we go to our winery stops in the afternoon for lunch, and we haven't had any hiccups, no complaints. Now, as far as combining, that's really person to person. Cannabis, a lot of people are revisiting it. They're trying to learn it for the first time. Cannabis itself is similar to alcohol. How does somebody know that too much alcohol is too much for them? They probably had consumed too much and didn't feel good. So it's really just trial and error. And the thing with cannabis is you can always take more, you can't take less. So microdosing is big. You always want to start very small, and then work your way up.
Thank you.
Yeah. And real quick. Go to. So one thing that's really cool again about Sonoma County is you have world-renowned wine country, but in 2017, Santa Rosa was voted the microbrewery capital of the U.S. You have Russian River Brewing, which is Pliny the Elder, Pliny the Younger, Bear Republic, Lagunitas, all in Sonoma County. So for us, what we did is we also made an option, again, not just wine country, right? So you have craft beer country. So it's another one, similar pattern. You're going to go to, an indoor cultivation. You'll be able to go to a dispensary and then a brewery for lunch. We use some local breweries. Barrel Brothers is one there in Windsor. It's owned by 2 brother-in-laws and a father-in-law, a really cool story. And they've been, just great. There's another one in Sebastopol that we go to, Crooked Goat, which has some really nice beers as well, and it's kind of an outdoor marketplace. So a couple different breweries we go to, and one thing for us that we like to point out is there are similarities between the beer making process and the cannabis manufacturing process, where the hops and barley is grown outside and you bring it inside and you're manipulating it to get the flavor profile you want. That's similar to manufacturing. So like give it a vape pen or an edible, they're using actual cannabis and they're extracting the oils and the terpenes to get the flavor and the profile they want. So that's another thing that's similar in the cannabis and brewery. And also you think about hops and cannabis plant, they both have terpenes. And so terpenes are what gave it the smell and the flavor. So that's another thing those two share as well, which is pretty interesting.
Hey, Jared, quick question.
Yeah.
So you drink the wine at when you go on wine tasting, but you can't sample it at the dispensaries, right? You're not allowed to do that.
Correct. So the way the regulations are laid out, at cannabis dispensaries, there's some in San Francisco and the East Bay, in the Bay Area, they have what's called consumption lounges, where you can purchase and consume. There's none of the ones that we go to have that yet. Santa Rosa and Sonoma County have not implemented that. But what you can do is you can purchase, and then edibles and drinks in the vehicle are okay. Cannabis infused edibles and drinks in our vehicle. Dispensaries, though, unless you have a consumption license, you're not able to consume. And that goes for also wineries and breweries. So wineries, breweries, they have an ABC license, which is a federal license to serve alcohol. And with that, there's no cannabis consumption on those premises. They're very mindful of that. So the one thing, and this industry is such an infant, consumption wise, it's difficult right now. There's not a whole lot of places for people to consume legally. So hopefully as the industry evolves, in the next couple of years, we'll be able to see that, and there will be more options for people coming from outside of the area that don't have the pleasure of having their own home or place to stay here.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then this is our cannabis experience. So this is cannabis only, going through Sonoma County. You're going to visit throughout the day a cannabis manufacturer, an indoor cultivation, as well as a dispensary. You'll basically cover all sides of the industry. Really cool behind the scenes tours of everything. And that's it. I mean, you're going to see from seed to sale, they call it. So you'll see where it starts and where it ends up. And this one's always evolving, because one thing with cannabis is there's always new operators coming online, opening up. It's such a new and evolving industry that there's some really cool stops that we're constantly adding to give people that peek behind the legal curtain.
Sure, I have a question. So I know so far I've been there with you, and it's a wonderful dispensary. So as you go around traveling to different places, different countries, you see dispensaries. How do you know they're good or not?
A good question. I think, when you speak with the staff, when you ask questions, and also kind of when you ask probing questions of the staff, but also their selection, you can kind of get an idea. And a lot of it's marketing within the retail space of what they're going for. Soulful specifically, they have big storyboard as you walk in that's called their muddy sourcing. So they only source outdoor cannabis. They don't source any indoor. They don't sell any indoor cannabis. And so what that means is, for them, their philosophy is they're going to the farms that they're selling. So they know the farmers, they know the product, they know the land. And for, that makes you as a consumer feel comfortable purchasing their products and knowing what they're going for. Then you'll have other dispensaries that depending on location, there's a huge, say push, but what's the word I'm looking for? It's not myth, but everyone looks at THC levels. High THC is supposed to be better cannabis, and that's not the case. And so it depends. Some dispensaries, if you walk in, and they're only promoting the THC levels, it kind of gives you an idea of what kind of dispensary or retail location you're in. They're going more for the higher THC content and strictly the numbers. Where, quick overview of outdoor cannabis and indoor cannabis is, with outdoor cannabis, you can't replicate the spectrum of light the sun produces. There's no way to replicate that. And so when you're dealing with outdoor, all of the things that you deal with in outdoor environment, the wind, the fog, the precipitation, the heat, the fluctuating of heat. You have a really hot day in the summer, and then you might have a cooler day. All of that really matters for the flavor profile, the terpenes, the yield. There's so much that goes into that for an outdoor cannabis plant. So you'll have people, there's a faction of cannabis consumers that only want outdoor because of the flavor profile. And because they know it's done outdoors, it's more organic, it's more of a traditional way of cultivating. Where indoor, you're basically manufacturing your environment. You're bringing in outdoor lights, right? High pressure sodium lights. You're creating the airflow. You're creating the humidity. So there's so much there. You're controlling everything. So you can only replicate it so much. So that's why a lot of people, they're going to gear towards outdoor. You're getting a big push for that, but you can kind of get an idea depending on the retail location and the staff. Are they pushing you towards outdoor, or are they looking at THC levels? So it really just depends on kind of their philosophy.
Great. Thank you for the education.
Uh-huh. And then let's see. So those are our 3 flagship experiences. Fortunately, right now, our Napa Valley one, we've had to, due to obviously with what's going on, we're not able to operate that. We don't know if it'll actually come back. It's still kind of waiting in the wings. So one thing I wanted to do, what I'll do is I have some photos. I'll go into those now.
And is there any way you can give us a little detail of what the agenda is for the tour if we were to go?
Yeah. So what it would be is excuse me, you will be going to, we'll pick you up, typical pickup time. We pick up from San Francisco, Marin, Sonoma, and Napa counties. So we'll pick you up from any of those locations. And then you're looking typically, depending on where it is, an 8:45 to 9 o'clock pickup time, just depending. Your first stop will be, kind of walk you through it for this, will be an indoor cultivation. So here's one right here of what you'll be able to see. So they have what's called vertical lighting. So they have 1, 2, and 3 tiers. So for this specific location is to maximize the space. So they have 10,000 square feet of indoor cultivations, and to maximize that, you take 1 canopy, which would be this level, and you turn it into 3. So it's pretty cool. It's a new way of kind of cultivating, but from 10 to about 11:15, you'll get a private indoor cultivation tour. They have a retail space where you'll be able to browse and purchase. Following the indoor cultivation, about 11:30, you'll arrive at a winery at Hook and Ladder, and the tastings there from 11:30 to 1. We also have lunch there, so we partner with a local deli. They do a picnic style box lunch where it's a customized sandwich of your choice, potato or macaroni salad, a cookie, and a banana. Really nice, very high quality. And you'll have lunch at the winery with your tastings. Following the winery, about 1:15, 1:20, go to a dispensary. At the dispensary, it'll be about an hour. You'll meet with a representative personally and privately, and they'll be able to answer any questions, go over their different products, the different delivery methods. So delivery method could be obviously inhalation, whether it's vape or flower, edibles. So you have obviously any type of edible. You have tinctures, which are liquid drops you would put under your tongue. You have transdermal, which are patches. And then you have topicals. So those are the different delivery methods. They'll go over their products. You'll be able to comfortably ask questions and get the answers that you're looking for. So that's about the itinerary. So it's about 120 to 220, and then back by about 3:30 to the drop off location, depending on where it is. So I'll start here. So, again, part of our mission is to show people the behind the scenes, right? Anyone can go to a dispensary and purchase a product, but how is it made? That's the big thing. When you go to a winery, you're typically at the estate where it's grown. You see the warehouse where the barrels are stored. So it's a lot easier for them to go direct to consumer than it is for a product. So we want to show people the behind the scenes, how it's made, how it's done. Unfortunately right now, with Sonoma County, they don't allow outdoor cannabis grow visits. So that's one of those things. Another hurdle within the industry, and again, goes down to the municipalities. Once they allow that, it'll definitely help, because from our stances, it's contributing to the stigma at this point. From not being able to take people to an outdoor cannabis grow, it really takes away from it. So this is one of our manufacturing partners. So this is a place called Cannacraft. It's one of the largest extraction labs in the state. And the cool thing about taking someone to Cannacraft, when someone hears a manufacturer, it doesn't sound as cool as an outdoor farm, but we get our best feedback from them. If you really want to know what's happening in the industry and how sophisticated it is, this is a great place to go. It's extremely efficient. They're, again, top 3 in the state as far as size and volume. Like this is, again, one of their extraction machines. So what'll happen is they'll load up excess here in these bins, these pillars, and then it gets to a very, very, very high pressure. And the end result is they run it for about half of a day, and the end result will come down here and it's crude oil. And then from there, it's just refining it into getting it to what they want. But we'll walk this facility. You'll be able to see this. Now, this is cool. This is their bottling line. No, it's not tough to see here, but these are all tanks that actually have Lagunitas hop water. So they partner with Lagunitas, and they purchase the hop water from them. It's non-alcoholic. It's kind of like a LaCroix, a sparkling water. And they infuse it with their THC and CBD. And they have a drink that's called Hi-Fi Hops, where they collaborate with Lagunitas on, which is really cool. It's one of our dispensary partners, Soulful. Tina mentioned earlier. So for us, education is huge. So when visiting Soulful, what we do is they have a lobby area here, and we have about a 20 to 30 minute Q&A with one of the representatives. Our group's able to ask questions, hear their story, learn about them, ask questions before even entering the retail space, so they're comfortable in knowing what they're looking at and what they're trying to find.
Jared, there's a question on the chat. It says, what's the usual age range of attendees?
So that's actually a good question, and it's fun because there's really it's ranged from 21 to 65. And the reason for that is, I think, for the next generation, cannabis will be legal. It won't be illegal. So for them, it's normal to have something like this. What we are finding, though, is we're getting a lot of people that are revisiting. And what that means is, baby boomers, people a little older that may have, experienced it when they were younger, had a bad batch of a brownie that they tried, and they never tried cannabis again. But now they're hearing all this buzz and all these health things that they can use it for, and they want to learn more about it. So the range is definitely, it's all over the place, which is really cool. And again, a lot of people are just curious. And yeah, here's one of our groups inside of the extraction room. So they have about 20 of these extraction machines in this room. Another one of those ones. That was the indoor cultivation. Get some other good ones of there. So yeah, here's another one. It's a whole different room than the last room. So about 4 in their facility, but yeah, it's one group. They got some really good photos in there. It's another one at Soulful. It's one of our groups during a Q&A. So this is, Absolute Extracts is a brand of Cannacrafts, but this is basically what he's explaining to them is once you extract the terpenes and the concentrate from the plant matter, it goes into a refining process. So they put it through here. I'm not the best at explaining it, but basically what they're doing is they're separating the fats and the lipids to get it to as pure as they can. So they'll strip it down, separate THC and cannabinoids into different parts. That way they can reinfuse it into their, whether it's edibles, vapes, things of those nature. But this is basically part of their refining process. This is their edible infusion lab. So this machine right here, this is all within Cannacraft. So you have your extraction room, they have their corporate offices there, their edible infusion lab, their refinery that I just showed you, and their bottling line, as well as packaging. So they have, it's a huge facility. It's a medical grade facility in Santa Rosa. But this machine right here makes gel caps. So think of Tylenol gel caps. They make those as well. And this is the machine that will do it. Actually, I should point that out. This is kind of it's a cool point. I like to point out to people. So Matt here, he's moved on, but he was the head of their chocolate lab, and he came to Cannacraft from the French Laundry. So he worked with Thomas Keller Group, doing their chocolates, things of that nature. But that's kind of cool. It just shows you how much cannabis can touch and how interested people are in the industry. Again, their extraction room. So what this is here is it's cannabis trim. So when you have your traditional flower, and you harvest the plant in October, you dry it, you curate it, and then you trim it. You trim the leaves off to kind of get it to looking presentable and nice and clean. And what the byproduct is trim. Now this trim, once you cut it off of the actual bud itself, the flower, it still has plenty of use. So what they do is the trim goes in the barrels. You don't put the whole plant in there. Some people do, but Cannacraft doesn't. They use the trim. So it's, again, you're maximizing the plant. So this is all byproduct of the flower. And so they load these up with the plant matter, and that's how they get their oil. Here's more of their chocolate edible infusion lab. So they're just packaging here. Same lab. Okay, should do it. Here's one. This is a good one too. So these are what's called babies. So looks like they just planted this room. This is at Floriterra, one of our partners, the indoor cultivation dispensary. But this is what they look like when you first plant. So when you put them in ground or you put them in, these are cubes, but this is how it starts. So this looks like a brand new room they just planted. So you'll see this there too. They do all of their own in-house, what they're called their clones. So they do all of them in-house. They have all of them on site. So that's really cool. It's another thing, people are able to see. It's a pretty good one. So this should show like it goes from the clones to see these are full flower. They're about ready to get taken down. So you kind of see the beginning and end. Okay. Now another thing we have is we have a video I was going to show that gives a pretty good, there you go, idea of what the day looks like. So that kind of gives you an idea of what that was our craft beer and cannabis. So
Very
gives you
cool.
an idea of what that looks like. Yeah.
So, Jerry, which tools are available now, and which tours are on hold with the Omicron?
So right now, our wine and cannabis, our craft beer and cannabis are available. Our cannabis is available during the week, just not on the weekends. So they're available. We are only doing private, so there's no group tours. We're not grouping people together.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. But yeah,
This sounds fun.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. You get to, a lot of information. So you're going to get pumped with a lot of information early on. And then, in the afternoon, you get to enjoy yourself with wine or beer. So
Right.
that's pretty much all I had. I mean, with the photos and one of our experiences, here's just some of our reviews. So this was a software engineer that did a team building activity. So that one was a lot of fun, but Yeah.
Great. I put your website link on the chat. So if anybody's interested, please go to the link. Thank you so much, Jared. We so appreciate you coming in to talk to us and highlighting this wonderful tours for us.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.